You told the AJ.
Okay.
Good evening, it's 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, April 24th. I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education. Ms. Joy Coyer, please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Here.
Mr. Gomez?
Here.
Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Here.
Ms. White?
Here.
Thank you. Item B is approve of the agenda. Number 1 is a motion to approve the agenda. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the agenda of the April 24th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. Action by the Board of Education and adoption of a consent agenda means that all items are adopted by one singular motion unless a member of the Board of Education, treasurer, or superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the consent agenda and be voted upon separately.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Thank you. Item C is our opening ceremony. Number 1 is our informational items. This meeting is a meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not a public community meeting, although there are opportunities for public participation. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic found on the meeting agenda, the individual must complete a registration form found inside the attendance notebook and present it to the treasurer. Following the introduction of the topic by the board president, followed by board discussion, the individual will be recognized. If an individual wishes to address the board regarding a topic not found on the meeting agenda, they must notify the superintendent and or board president of the topic no later than 3 business days in advance of the meeting. These individuals may share their comments during the board business portion of the agenda. In both cases, the individual will preface comments by announcement of their name and address and limit comments to 3 minutes. All statements should be directed to the board president. No person may address or question board members individually. In addition, in public session, the board will not hear complaints about school personnel nor against any person connected with the school system. An unabridged board agenda for this meeting can be found on your electronic device at the address shown on the screen. And for your convenience, hard copies of the board agenda may be found on the table by the sign-in book. The next regularly scheduled meeting of the Cuyahoga Falls Board of Education is May 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. in the Cuyahoga Falls High School Library. Now for our Pledge of Allegiance and welcome, Ms. White.
Hi, if you are able, please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Our vision, Cuyahoga Falls City Schools, the hub of our community, committed to a culture of caring. We innovate, we create, we personalize education for all. Our mission statement, every student, every day, every opportunity. The board's strategic plan goals are as follows. School safety. We aspire to have a welcoming environment that ensures that the physical and social well-being needs of every student and staff member are met. Academic growth. We aspire to have significant growth through personalized education for all students. We aspire to improve graduation rates so that our students are prepared for employment, enrollment, or enlistment. Engagement, inclusion, and diversity. We will ensure that every student has access to resources they need when they need it in order to be successful. Technology and systems integration. We aspire to create safe, secure, and efficient technology systems to support high-quality teaching, learning, and district operations.
Thank you, Ms. White. Item D is our presentations tonight. We have 5 exciting presentations. First up is the awarding of a diploma, and it's recommended that Board of Education grants a Cuyahoga Falls High School diploma to the following individual who has now completed requirements stated by the state of Ohio for high school graduation. Eric Thomas Futrell.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Just note that Mr. Futrell is not here tonight, but he completed the graduation requirements under the 22 Plus program. It's a great program the state of Ohio offers that's completely free. If you know anyone in your life that is over the age of 22 that does not have a diploma, that wants to get a diploma, please have them reach out to our district. We are so excited to work with them and get them across the stage. Please call the roll.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Congratulations, Mr. Brown. Number 2 is our Staff Star Award, and I invite up Ms. Allison Bobkin.
Now I'm going to have Mr. Hutch, our Director of Technology and Safety, join me. Who are my top Tigers in the audience tonight? Excellent, congratulations, I love this evening. But before we recognize you, we are going to recognize one of our staff. Right. So we're going to recognize one of our staff members who have been nominated. Every month we nominate a staff member, and they're nominated by their colleagues. And this month, the reason that I have Mr. Ryan Hutch joining me, we have nominated and are recognizing Charlie Chase. So Charlie, come on up here so we can talk about you.
All right, well, he's on his way up. Charlie was nominated by a teacher from Silver Lake Elementary School, Mrs. Stats. She is unable to be here. She wishes she could, but I want to read her recommendation of him and then make a few other comments. So here it goes. Charlie Chase, an IT staff member, does a phenomenal job of completing the many technology work orders quickly. He communicates with staff in such a timely manner that it is incredibly impressive. He makes sure to take time to talk to me as a technology leader to explain how he fixed something so I can learn and complete more easy tech work orders. Charlie speaks respectfully to students and staff and never makes anyone feel silly for their questions. Charlie most definitely deserves recognition for his impact on the Cuyahoga Falls City School District, staff, and students. We are so lucky to have him as part of our district. And I'll also say, as someone who gets to work with him every day, we brought Charlie in this past summer, so he's completing his first year. He had his first Ohio winter. He's from Texas. He didn't understand snow or winter coats, so we had some teaching in that way along the way. But he's learned to tolerate Ohio winters. And from the minute we brought him in, he jumped in with 2 feet into the work. And when you work in a public school district in technology, you don't even know what you need to know because there's so much to know. And Charlie is never afraid to ask a really great question and then go and just jump in and help wherever it needs to be done. And we're just so grateful to have you, Charlie. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And our next is another staff recognition for the CARE Award, and I invite up Mrs. Merkel. And Mrs. Hall.
Good evening. Each year, the 6th District Compact Care Committee recognizes individuals and groups that demonstrate outstanding service to Compact students, particularly in prevention and intervention efforts. This year, Girls on the Run at Preston and Richardson Elementary Schools are our Cuyahoga Falls Award recipients. Will Tammy Brown, Esther Harsh, Carolyn Hoffman, Rebecca Lukatich, Rebecca Miller, Lauren Quinones, Emily Smith, and Rachel Zellick please come forward. Girls on the Run is a program that supports girls at Richardson and Preston Elementary Schools by fostering a sense of belonging, confidence, and overall well-being. Through its focus on the whole child, girls not only develop physical fitness, but also learn important life skills such as teamwork, leadership, and perseverance.
Our Girls on the Run coaches dedicate countless hours of their own time to create a weekly experience for our students that will forever change the way they look at themselves and others. Relationship building is a critical component of a positive elementary experience. Our coaches work hard to build caring, lasting, and supportive relationships with our students. Their leadership and commitment to enhancing student mental health and well-being is evident in their everyday interactions with all of our students. We are grateful for the time, dedication, and love that the coaches put into our students each and every day. On behalf of the Cuyahoga Falls City Schools districts, we want to thank you for your efforts to make Girls on the Run a successful program, and we can't wait to see what great things are in store for your future.
Our next presentation is our Friend of Education Award. I invite up Dr. Selico as we recognize our amazing staff and our amazing students tonight that do so much in our buildings every day. It's important that we also take time to recognize our community partners that we can't do all this without, that take so much of their time as out of their day jobs to continue to find ways and resources to support everything that we do, to support the goals and the mission and the vision that you heard about. And we're so honored to get to recognize one of them this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to see all of you here. I love seeing the little ones and hearing the little ones, their little chatter as we go throughout. So parents, I know how it is to have little ones, and we're totally fine with it. We love having children around. We need more of them throughout the day. There you go. Yes, he can clap for himself, so we're all good. All right. So this evening I have the honor of telling you about who I think has just really done such great work in our schools, as Mr. Gomez had alluded to. I've been here this is my second year, and just in my second year and being out in the community and kind of interfacing with lots of different people, there's one face that just keeps reoccurring and really is standing out as helping our students in our district, and that is Kathy Ramito. So Kathy, I'm going to have you come forward. Where's Kathy? There she is in the back. I'm going to present this to you first, so you can have it before I read about you. So here's all right. Oh yeah. I should have primed a little bit better this evening. I knew I was going to be in a lot of pictures. Put that off to the side. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about Kathy. Kathy Ramito is currently the Communications Relations Manager at Western Reserve Hospital. Kathy is responsible for establishing and maintaining all community partnerships and strategic alliances. In addition, Kathy plans and executes digital marketing for the hospital, Western Reserve Physicians, Inc., and Unity Health Network. She is responsible for planning many events both for the hospital and other organizations. Kathy serves as the president of Collide. Cuyahoga Falls, an arts and culture organization, serves on both the Cuyahoga Falls and the Stoneman Rose Falls Chamber Boards, is vice president of SSAMA, and serves on the Women's Network Community Leadership Institute Advisory Committee. Additionally, she recently was elected to the board of directors for the Humane Society of Summit County. Not sure when you're going to get free time, but let me know when that happens. In 2017, Kathy was recognized as Member of the Year by Women's Network. It was named Volunteer of the Year in 2016 by the Stoneman Rose Falls Chamber of Commerce, and Business Person of the Year by the Cuyahoga Falls Chamber of Commerce in 2014. She also received the Sales and Marketing Executive of the Year by the National Sales and Marketing Executives of Akron-Canton. Kathy has worked closely with our schools. She has spoken to Richardson students on career paths. She's helped plan the original Lemonade Day. She's spoken to the high school students about careers, including soft skills, job interviewing, and more. She coordinates the Not Me Drug-Free program with the police department, attends the high school career fair annually, has done tours for students. She's coordinated the Day of Giving Back with Bolick Middle School, and has served on the Business Alliance Council for many years, which is part of my organization that I run. She is a loyal participant each month at those meetings. Kathy resides in Cuyahoga Falls as well, and we are grateful for all she has done for our students and families. She is dependable and a true friend of education, and specifically the Cuyahoga Falls schools.
Thank you so much. It is truly an honor. I'm really short, can you tell? It's truly an honor. I think that our youth are our future, and it really matters. And I think the community and the businesses need to get behind what the work that's being done here, both the teachers and the students to really create a better and brighter future. And I appreciate the fact that I received this recognition, and I encourage all of my fellow community members and businesses to get involved because it's truly rewarding. I feel like every year at graduation I made a little impact, and that's really an honor to have been part of. Thank you.
Well deserved, Kathy, thank you. All right. Do we have any top Tigers in the room? I saw you raise your hands earlier. I think it's that time, Mr. Gomez, is it that time?
Time for top Tigers, Dr. Selika.
All right, my favorite time. I love it. All right. Well, let me tell you a little bit. First, parents, anybody in here who's a second-time top Tiger or a third time of a child that's received the recognition? Okay.
No.
No pressure, buddy. You're gonna be next, little guy. All right? Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about Top Tiger recognition and why we're here this evening. It is an award given by our Board of Education to students from each building each month, and the students are chosen by various staff members in their buildings, and I get that distinct honor of reading each one of those nominations this evening. So, boys and girls, I need you to listen because we are going to see how well we follow directions, all right? So when I announce your name, here's what's going to happen. You are going to come forward. You're going to stand here just like Miss Ramito did, and I'm going to read the description about why you were chosen. There's going to be pictures, I'm sure. After that, I ask that each student come up. When you're here, you're going to get your bag and your flowers, and it looks like Miss White, are you my helper this evening? I believe I am. All right, okay. And then after all the students have been honored, we will meet in the hallway. But before we do that, Miss Stewart is back here. So after you come here, you get all your goodies. You're going to come over here to Miss Stewart and get a picture taken. Then you'll sit back down. When we are finished with everybody, we're going to go over to the cafeteria, and you're going to get some further directions. Once you get over there, you're going to get some extra goodies and also a group photo. And that, families, at that time, you also can take some pictures if you'd like. All right? All right, he agrees too. What's his name? Because I just want to keep saying. Avery. All right, Avery. Avery's going to be my helper this evening. All right, Avery. In case I screw up, you can help me out. All right. So then the other thing I want to mention, you will get, as I mentioned, you'll get some goodies. And I think I see Ms. Schroeder. I'll leave that up to you to tell them what they're going to be bringing home because that's really exciting. And then I'd just like to add that this evening is possible for, we have many generous community sponsors that help with our donations, including the Cuyahoga Falls School Foundation and Alumni Association. So I want to thank all of our partners who encourage our students to be the best that they can. And our community really gets behind our students, and I think that's so critical for their success. So at this time, what I'd like to do before we get to the actual awards, I'm going to ask Chris Schroeder, who is a member of the foundation, to say a few words, and then we will get started. Thank you.
These are some of the other sponsors for Top Tiger. We've got Dietz Floors, Donato's. So go ahead and spend your money there. No, my name is Chris Schrader, and I'm a trustee and a 1970 graduate of Cuyahoga Falls High School. The Cuyahoga Falls Foundation is one of the sponsors of Top Tiger Award. Each year, the foundation awards over $150,000 in student scholarships, awards classroom teacher grants, and helps connect alumni by assisting with class reunions and class websites. We also recognize distinguished alumni and host a recognition program and reception each May. All of our Top Tigers are invited to march with us in the Memorial Day Parade. So put that on your calendar. Tonight, after all the Top Tigers have been recognized, you'll head over to the cafeteria after you have your picture and all that stuff is done, and we'll have something special to give to the adults that are with the children tonight, and you'll get your t-shirts then too, kids. So on behalf of Cuyahoga Falls Schools Foundation and Alumni Association, we congratulate all of the Top Tigers on earning this very special recognition. Congratulations.
This was the one. I wasn't sure. After I saw what Ms. Schrader was holding, I realized that this is also something that you're going to get this evening. So you can put this in your yards or in a window, wherever you prefer. But these are really exciting to have. And these are compliments of, is Mrs. Carlisle here this evening? There she is. Our CFEA president, our Teachers Union president. They were kind enough to purchase those for us. have in your yards. All right. Oh, a round of applause is deserved. Yep. All right, so I'm going to let you in on a little secret, students. Are you ready to hear this? I always come up with something. I don't know. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth, and the board just kind of looks and says, what is she going to say now? But that's okay. So a little known fact, so my last name is Celico, right? But people mispronounce it all the time. So I'll get like Celico or, whatever. I'm sure it's been worse than that. But they often spell it wrong, too. What letter do you think they start my last name with when you go to spell it if it's Celico? S. But guess what? That's not right. Starts with a C. So the reason I'm telling you this story is because we have some very difficult names to pronounce this evening. And it is so important that I get your names right that my assistant, Mr. Jones, made me sit with him 2 times today to review the names and to practice. But I say this because people mess up my name too all the time. And really, our names are important to us. So I just want this to be a little lesson to you students that if an adult mispronounces your name, you should not feel bad about correcting us. All right, that's the moral of this story. And you're going to give me a little grace tonight if I don't get 100%. All right, so please, if we are mispronouncing your name, whether you're in the classroom or it's me, I don't care who it is, you should say, I'm sorry, my name is such and such. All right? Okay, well, let's see how I do. With that intro, we'll see how we start. All right. The first school we're going to begin with is DeWitt, and our first student is Maxton Sarath. Maxton is always showing Black Tiger pride in and out of the classroom. He is a role model to the other students and a friend to everyone. Every morning, Maxton comes into school class ready to go for the day with a positive attitude. His teacher, Mrs. Wilson, loves his sense of humor and the ability to joke around with her. Maxton works very hard every day. He worked very hard to become the letter sound champ in Mrs. Wilson's classroom. Not only does he work hard in the classroom, he also works hard at baseball. Congratulations, Maxton. Good first, buddy. Right there. All right. Our next student is Alexis Ziegel. The sister of Avery. Right, we got a cheerleader there. All right. Ready? What grade are you in? Alexis is a model student, always displaying Black Tiger behavior. She truly is an amazing role model to the rest of the students. She comes to school ready to learn every day with a smile on her face. Alexis is always doing the right thing at all times. She is a wonderful friend to all of the other students in class and is always willing to lend a helping hand. Alexis is motivated, dedicated, dependable, hardworking student. Alexis truly is a star student and has a heart of gold. Keep up the amazing work, Alexis. Congratulations. This one, there you go. All right, we're moving over to Lincoln. We have Kayliana Andrews. Kaylee, must be your nickname. Kaylee is a leader in the classroom. She shows Black Tiger pride in the classroom every day. Kaylee has an amazing vocabulary. When her teacher, Mrs. Berry, introduces a new word, she is the first one to start using the new vocabulary. She shows respect to students and her classmates. She has a little brother at home and likes helping him, so he will be ready for kindergarten. Nice. Can you come to my home? In her free time, she likes to play with Play-Doh and kinetic sand. Oh, I know kinetic sand. She also likes to draw. We look forward to seeing all of the accomplishments Kaylee will have during her time at Cuyahoga Falls. Congratulations. So is it Kaylia, but you go by Callie? Calliana. It's Calliana. Okay. Well, I'm going to make a note of that. Mr. Jones and I will talk tomorrow. It says K-A-Y. How would we pronounce that? He's listening at home, too. He told me he was going to chime in. So, Mr. Jones, we'll work on that one tomorrow. But I'm so glad she corrected. She did exactly what I asked her to do. All right. Our next student is Lucas Bartula. Lucas? Lucas Bartula takes being a black tiger to heart and proves that he is a top tiger every day. His excellent citizenship sets him apart from others. He works hard to be a good role model, a great listener, and a kind friend. He shows strength of character as he ignores distractions and always tries to do the right thing. He is dedicated to his schoolwork. He ensures everything he turns in is something that he can be proud of. Lucas also shows discipline, effort, teamwork, and character when he participates in an after-school basketball league. These admirable qualities show that Lucas deserves the title of Top Tiger. Way to lead with Black Tiger pride, Lucas. Congratulations. This way, honey. Lucas. All right, moving on to Preston. Our first student is Khalees Dobson. There she is. All right, let's see. Miss Brown remembers Khalees being a spirited kindergarten student with lots of energy. In the past 4 years, Khalees has grown leaps and bounds in all areas. She is one of the most caring and helpful students at Preston. She has grown academically and socially and truly cares about her growth and takes ownership of her learning. She does not give up, and she has a smile that makes my day. I noticed that on your way up. Good smile. We are so proud of how far she has come, and we cannot wait to see her journey continue as a black tiger. Congratulations. All right, our next student is Gabby Futowski. Congratulations. Miss Brown feels that Gabby is one of the most creative and responsible young people she knows. She is dedicated to being the best she can be, and it is important to her that she also helps others to be the best they can be. Mrs. Miller, the Preston music teacher, feels Gabby is one of the most positive and confident young people she has had the pleasure to teach. She described Gabby as never being afraid to be herself. We love that about Gabby. This year, the Girls on the Run program, which we heard about earlier, came to Preston, and no one could keep up with Gabby. She inspires others in and out of the classroom. Thank you for being such an amazing leader for others, Gabby. Congratulations on being Preston's top tiger. Congratulations. All right, moving on to Price. Our first student is Aria Padel. Aria is simply the sweetest, kindest little girl that you would ever want to meet. She comes to school with a smile on her face, ready to learn, and is a friend to everyone. Aria strives to do her best in everything she does. She excels in academics and puts forth great effort to do well. She is an amazing role model in my classroom for others and is a hard worker, and she is deserving of the Top Tiger Award. Price Elementary is lucky to have such an outstanding student. Congratulations. All right, our next student, oh, that's right, you guys could follow in line. I forgot about that. Our next student is Gavin Rankin. Hi, Gavin. Yeah, he is. He's very serious. He's ready. All right, Gavin. Gavin is a wonderful example of a student who not only excels in academics, but also radiates positivity in everything he does. His enthusiasm for learning is evident in his participation in class discussions, ability to grasp new concepts, and willingness to help his classmates. Beyond his academic achievements, Gavin is kind and empathetic with his peers. He is always willing to offer words of encouragement and lend a helping hand. For these reasons, Gavin is most deserving of the of the Cuyahoga Falls Top Tiger Award. Congratulations, Gavin. Oh, Gavin. All right. Our next school is Richardson, and our first student there is Sophie Allen. Hi, Sophie. Just one moment. We'll have your goodies delivered. There you are. All right. Sophie Allen is a fourth grade student that exemplifies Black Tiger pride. She never complains and takes on responsibilities with ease. She comes in each day ready and eager to learn. She is a top contributor in class discussions, always providing thoughtful insights. She is helpful to her peers, concerned about others, and has a kind heart which makes her liked by everyone. At school, she participates with Girls on the Run, another one. Okay. Outside of school, she loves writing songs, enjoys going to church, and playing outside with her family, especially her little brother. My goodness, I need you guys at home. My little ones do not get along. We cannot wait to see what the future holds for Sophie. All right, congratulations. All right, our next student is Xavier Ozaranek. I keep wanting to say sick at the end, but it's Nick. I gotcha. Okay. And it's Xavier? Xavier? Okay. In every way, Xavier exemplifies a Cuyahoga Falls top tiger. He is kind to everyone and brings a smile to his teachers. He is always engaged in classroom discussions and makes excellent contributions. Every day, he demonstrates good sportsmanship at recess playing gaga ball. Outside of school, he makes sure to finish his homework before playing on his Switch. All these new things, these terms, I don't know. Does anybody know that was a foreign language to me? All right. His favorite person to play in football is linebacker, and he just finished wrestling. He is looking forward to playing outside and going to the park with his family. Me too. We are fortunate to have Xavier at Richardson Elementary. Congratulations. All right. Our next student is from Silver Lake, and our first student there is Goldie Mdadi Medemahala. Now I have to see how I did. Like a C? Like ABC? Like a C? Yeah, all right. I worked on this one very hard. And it was so sweet because Mr. Dolka had her do a recording for me, and that was so helpful, so I really appreciate it. There's a lot in your name. It's beautiful. I love it. I just wish I could pronounce it better, okay? So we go by Goldie, though, right? Perfect. Goldie is an amazing young lady. She has faced the challenges of moving to a new country and starting a new school with perseverance and determination. Goldie's academic growth has been astounding, and she has become quite the role model. She is always willing to lend a helping hand and extend kindness to others. She takes pride in everything she does and always does her best, which shows in her schoolwork. She also shows Black Tiger pride by always following school rules, even when no one is watching. That's the best. Goldie is a top tiger because she truly deserves it, and we are so proud of her. Congratulations, sweetie. All right, our next student from Silver Lake is Henry Marshall. Henry? All right, Henry's kindness is like a ray of sunshine. He brightens the first grade classroom with his kind words and actions. First grade? Are you in first grade? Is that what it was? Wow, you're tall first. Yeah, you are tall. Mine is tall too, but I think you have her beat. He brightens the first grade classroom with his kind words and actions. He does this effortlessly each and every day. Henry always makes sure to include everyone. He is willing to help others without thinking anything of it. Henry is respectful to his teachers and classmates. He is a friend to everyone. Henry is a role model in the classroom. He always does his best and puts forth 100% effort with everything he does. With Henry's kind heart and hard work, he is going to do some amazing things. Keep shining bright, Henry. Congratulations. This way, honey. Henry? He's like, I gotta get away from her. All right. Okay. We're moving on to the middle school. Our first middle school is Bolick, and we have Case Keaton. Case. Case, how are you? Good. Thank you. All right. Case is truly a dream student in every possible way. Not only are his academics exemplary, but even more importantly, he is compassionate and considerate a considerate student to his classmates. He is always ready to lend a hand, answer a question, work with his peers, and assist his teachers. Case is committed to doing his best and actively seeks out new challenges and opportunities. His interactions with others are always respectful and kind. He is also a member of the school's National Junior Honor Society chapter, which further exemplifies all of his positive qualities. Congratulations. Good for you, Case. Good job. Our next student from Bullock is Michaela Kuzma. Hi, Michaela. How are you? Good. All right, Michaela is a hard-working young lady who comes to class prepared, gets to work, and completes assignments to the best of her ability. She is a supportive individual to those around her and is a shining example to others to be positive and to always do their best. Congratulations to Michaela. I'm very proud of you. All right, moving on to Roberts. You guys are doing great, little ones in the audience. Our first student is Alina Gimri. Hi. Did I do it right? Oh, yeah. You look like you were going to tell me otherwise. All right. Alina is truly a pleasure to have in class. She is polite and kind to both staff and her fellow students. She is a member of the 7th grade band, drama club, and is the secretary of Builders Club. She plans to join The Voice at Roberts next year. Nice. Outside of school, she enjoys swimming and spending time with friends and family. The Roberts 7th grade team would like to reiterate our congratulations and appreciations to Alina for her academic and personal successes. Good for you. Congratulations. And our second student from Roberts is Braden Monroe. Hi. How are you?
Good.
Are you excited? Yeah, he's ready to go. All right, Braden. All right. The 7th grade team at Roberts Middle School is very proud to nominate Braden as a top Tiger for the month of April. Braden exceeds expectations in academic settings by volunteering answers, asking questions when he does not understand, helping explain to others if they ask him for help, and turning in all of his assignments. Braden has a great sense of humor, which makes the classes he is in even more enjoyable. Keep up the good work, Braden. Congratulations. Good work. All right, ready for our high schoolers? You are? All right, all right. Our first student is Morgan Bourne. Is she here this evening? I know she might not have been able to make it. No? Okay, we're gonna invite her to the next meeting, I think, okay? All right, our second student is Ariana Williams. Hi, Ariana. How are you? You play basketball, Ariana? That's Mr. Jones, too. I'm going to blame him. He told me Ariana. I know, okay. All right. So Ariana is a shining example of what it means to be a black tiger. Her quiet confidence and genuine interest in others is a rarity in the modern student. She always puts her best foot forward in any endeavor in which she sets out upon. Her maturity and drive to succeed is unparalleled by her peers, and her ability to rise above the pettiness and drama that can often accompany high school students is unmatched. We can all attest to that. That's good for you. She truly stands head and shoulders above her peers in every category you can name, and not just because of her height. You are tall. When given the opportunity to nominate a student for this prestigious award, Mr. Parker was shocked to see that she has not yet to win it. Her kindness and good-hearted nature is a beacon for all of her peers, and she truly makes everyone around her better. That's very nice. Congratulations. Hand me your picture. Woo! Whew. All right. This is the hardest I work all week on these evenings. Mr. Jones is in just a little trouble tomorrow. He's going to critique me. He already told me. So we're looking forward to our meeting first thing tomorrow morning. All right. Well, before we break for pictures, one, I want to tell you, students, how proud I am of all of you being up here. The things that I read are just so heartwarming to all of us. We are so proud of you and the work that you do in our schools. And to our family members, again, I always say it's no coincidence that these students are here. So keep up the good work that you're doing at home, and you too deserve a round of applause. All right, we're nearing the end. So what we're going to do is, so we had some recognitions of our adults. We'll take your pictures first. Top Tigers, you two will head over to the cafeteria, get your shirts and your signs, and then we'll gather you for a picture. Thank you again for being here, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, and we are ready for item E, Treasurer CFO's Business Consent Agenda. Ms. Stoicoy.
Thank you. I'd like to recommend that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the treasurer's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Stoicoy?
Yep. First, I always want to point out our donations. We have one from a staff member, and then the Ben Curtis Family Foundation, so those are appreciated. The second thing I wanted to mention, there's a contract on for industrial appraisal company. This would be a change in vendor for our inventory services. About once every 5 years, we have them come out and actually assess everything physically. And then on the in-between years, we just kind of send them our updates and deletions that we have, so they can maintain that for our audit. The reason for the change is really, this company is a little more technologically savvy. It has a few more options as opposed to what we're currently using. A lot of other districts use this company. I've actually used this company before in the past, a long time ago. And they are actually very much in demand. That, as you can see, it will not start till the 25-26 school year, because that's the first time they have time to actually physically come out here. But I said that that would work very well because it coincides with the opening of the new building, and we can have everything done. So what we will do is, you'll see there's a couple options on there, but we will be moving forward with, them doing the new building plus our existing buildings, plus the barcode tags on things. They will actually go out during that appraisal and place everything on them at that time. So that'll take place sometime during the 25-26 school year. This is another one of those things that I think it just needs updated, and we need to kind of have more technology access to the data instead of how we get it now. So.
Questions or comments from the board? I appreciate how thorough the contract is, because it talks about, some of the unknowns we have with some of our properties and takes that into consideration as well. In terms of the tagging, we should probably, after this, probably take a look at our next policy committee meeting if we have a policy on what assets we tag, and we should probably make sure we don't, we probably should have one, and then we should make sure that it matches whatever is in this
We do,
contract.
and it does.
It does, okay. Just wanted to make sure, because that's the,
Yeah, I don't know that we have a threshold for capitalization, which we may tag physically or not physically, depending on the item. And then the other ones would be items, anything below that, we could still do, it's just not required.
but then you have different rules then about how you get rid of those assets if they're tagged or not tagged, so.
Yeah, I'd have to look at that portion of our policy.
Yeah.
We do have a whole inventory policy, so
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that and
We'll
see if
throw
there's.
that on the next policy committee
Yay.
now that we're doing this probably, because we probably should look at that since we're voting on this, but. Okay. Okay, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye. Thank you. Item F, Treasurer CFO's Business, Ms. Stoicoy.
I'd like to recommend the Board of Education approve the March 2024 investment schedule and monthly spending report.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Stoicoy.
All right, we will take a look at interest first. March was a good month. I think it's our best month so far. And again, as I've been stating, our cash flow is up in March because we started to receive, those advances from Summit County, and then some other, just regular increases there. So it was a good month for us. Almost $450,000 in interest. Again, majority of that is to the construction fund, but some of it is general fund. So there is that. And then if we look at general fund, we we will be able to see, you'll see, we got $14 million to the general fund in advances, over the course of March. Expenditures, it's a little bit more than last year, which is keeping trend with kind of where we are. Overall, again, we have some bigger projects in there which, are being paid on, that weren't in the previous years, if you recall, so, that is part of those increases. Obviously a positive result of operations, which leaves us, about 22.5 million. We're still gonna receive at least one more real estate deposit in April. I'm trying to remember if we got one in the beginning of the month or it was the very end of March, but we will get one more because we haven't gotten our actual final settlement yet. So, we will see that in, April, hopefully April, because I haven't seen it yet. It was supposed to be April, but, hopefully we see it soon. And that's really it. Everything else is pretty much, status quo. Food service is still, doing well. Obviously that, taking some of a little bit of a reduction, but it is still, overall in a really good spot. At about 500, a little over 500,000, a little under 600,000, I should say, for food service balance. So.
On the food service, will we see the expenditures for the finger scanning reflect in April, or?
That all depends on when the actual invoice comes and it gets
Okay.
processed, yeah. So I don't know that it has yet. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Okay,
I would assume April or May.
okay. I'm just assuming that'll be like a noticeable
Yeah,
impact once
yeah.
that comes through.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Please call the roll.
Ms. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Thank you. Number 2, your comments.
Thank you. As you know, I mentioned last meeting, I attended OASBO's annual conference last week. It was a great week. We had nice weather, which never happens, I feel like. It was really nice. It was actually hot a couple days. I went outside and I was like, oh my goodness. Because it's always cold in the convention center. So I was bundled up. But got to see some really good speakers. Toured Joanne out of the vendor show. She looked a lot like you, Anthony. She had about 4 or 5 bags. People were starting to look and question her, but she did get us something for everyone in the office. So she got 4 of everything when she went.
You gotta distribute.
And yeah, so had a lot of good talks there. There was actually one of the vendors is with an insurance company, and he is on the board for Art Sparks. And he brought it up, and I told him how I was in a dance with the Art Sparks kids earlier this year, so he was pretty impressed.
Did you see it?
He probably looked it up after I told him. Yeah. But they always do a good job, and I had sent you guys the little snippet, but they have, for the second year in a row, they've had the same band, and they're a very, very good band that comes in and does some entertainment for us in the evening, and they are called the Naked Karate Girls. Yeah.
Interesting.
Apparently they looked up the top 3 words that were like that people Google or something, and then they made that their band. But they're pretty popular, and they did put on a good show. So we enjoyed ourselves and got a lot of learning in as well. So I appreciate being able to take the time and you guys supporting us in that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Item G is Superintendent CO's Business Consent Agenda. Dr. Salka.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve all items listed in the superintendent's consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Comments, Dr. Salka?
Thank you. So just a few things to point out. We have, under personnel, some resignations in our summer school staff there. Our college credit plus stipends, this is part of the negotiated agreement for those that teach those CCP courses, they're compensated for it. We have the payment in lieu of transportation. I'd like to draw your attention to that number. I believe it was 38,000 the last time I looked, which is it's an onus on the district, for transporting students that go to non-public schools and those that we actually make exceptions for, say we can't transport. So that's not even the cost for transporting those students, it's the cost for reimbursing parents for that. So I don't know if people realize, that is our responsibility, but it is. Next, we have a contract for Tango Tango. This is a radio system and internet, related for the cell phones, to connect to radios, and they can, as long as there's internet, you can get access to those phones that, function as a walkie-talkie. So you can, as Ryan likes to say, he thinks about being in the Bahamas, he can hear it there. And so those are partially funded, it's a 3-to-1 match, so we have a very small, cost for us to incur, but it was, he's very excited about that. We also have a quote for Vasu Communications, and that's the expansion of our radio system. So that's some new equipment, new radios, et cetera. That has been allocated in our general fund, to cover the cost of that. And I think, a handbook, I'm sorry, the handbook for the administrators, mine is a little out of order. Just wanna mention, and I'll talk more about this in my next recommendation, but this is just an update to the administrators' handbook we're not adding a position, we're shifting a position over, for compensation, just to reflect that in the book. But again, I'll speak about that in the next one.
Questions or comments from the board? Just say that, our administrative staff is doing great work and getting this grant money. I don't know
Yes.
if we have a number, but just over the last 3 years in particular, we've brought in tons of grant funds, and it's really made a huge dent. And, instead of this costing $9,000 for that, contract, it's gonna cost us $2,200. And all of those things make a big difference. And when it talks about safety, there's, $7,000 more on the table potentially for safety. And that's a big impact for our district. So we appreciate the work that people do to make our dollars stretch.
Thank you.
Please call the roll.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
And item H, Superintendent CO's business.
Thank you,
Dr.
Mr. Gomez. Yes, first one is a recommendation that the Board of Education approve the classified contract for the security supervisor position.
So moved.
Second.
Dr. Salko.
Thank you. So I just want to point out that this is not an addition of a position. We've had this position in existence. It is not unusual for us to contract through the ESC, the Educational Service Center, with a new position to see the impact that it has, and if it's something we want to keep, because once we enter it into a contract with someone, it becomes a little bit more permanent, if you will. So we are pleased to be able to have Ben Gesford, who has been with us as our security supervisor. He will now become an employee of the district as opposed to the ESC. So that's the reason for that recommendation of just updating the handbook. He will be in the professional staff category. And so we are just pleased. We know Ben's experience. We know what he has brought to our district in all the progress we have made in safety and security is reflected in my State of the Schools, as well as other publications that, Mrs. Stewart's been keeping up with. And you mentioned the grants, and I joke, but I think Mr. Gesford has already gotten enough in grants to cover his salary almost. So, I mean, it just goes to show you the investment when people think of, the money that we might spend on a particular position, but he has paid for himself in the grants that he has acquired for our district. And I see that Officer Davis is here this evening, so that's very nice of you to be here in support. So that's my recommendation.
Questions or comments from the board? I know people have comments.
Yeah, I just want to thank Mr. Geffsford for all the work that you've put in and focusing on the security and safety of our buildings. And it's very evident in everything that has transpired in the past year, the impact that you've had on our district. And I just want to thank you for that. So.
Absolutely, piggybacking off of that, I know families are sleeping a whole lot better knowing you're here and you're helping out, so thank you.
say something too. Yeah, also, I know sometimes I say too much, but yes, I agree with both what you said, and also, with that, it is hard sometimes to balance that, you know, I'm an authority figure, I'm looking out for like the needs of the building, security, and then also building a rapport with the students so that they also feel safe. It's one thing for the parents to feel safe, but then also for students to feel safe, both speaking, you know, with the person of authority and then also knowing that they're safe in the building. So that's a special combination. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Ditto.
It's definitely been one of the more impactful, if not one of the most impactful positions we've added in our school district. And we are just so thankful to have you, now get to keep you, and you get to officially be part of a Black Tiger. You're kind of like on the side, now you get to officially be part of the Black Tiger family. So we're very excited for that. But even just sometimes when families talk about safety and security and want to bring those concerns up to us, and it's one of the things that families do want to talk to the board about. We get to tell them that we have you, and we get to talk about your background, and you just see that just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable. We still want to talk to you about what they're concerned about, and we're happy to have those conversations. They're just a little bit more comfortable knowing that we have somebody like you in charge of these things, and we're very proud to have someone like you on our staff and excited to make it official. Call the roll, please.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Would you like to say anything, Mr. Gaspard? I'm sure you can come up with something.
Thank you, Doctor. Is it Dr. Salico?
Yeah. At least you didn't call me Dr. Seuss like the first graders. So, yeah.
Dr. Salico, thank you for the board for the kind words and all the support. Thank you, Mr. Hutch, for showing me the ropes. And my partner, I appreciate you backing me up today, Officer Davis. We're knee to knee every day, all day, and so it's important for me to have you here, so I appreciate you coming. And thanks to the parents, kids, and the staff I work with daily. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm very excited.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. My next item is, it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the resolution of the easement from Akron Children's Hospital to execute drainage maintenance.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. So, do you want to give us some background?
Yes, I'm gonna do my best effort. I've been trying to educate myself. As superintendent, we talk a lot about other things that do not pertain to anything of education, the field that I really went into. So today I'm gonna be, I don't know, an architect, an engineer, I'm not quite sure. But, and Mr. Bugatti is out for several weeks, so I'm kind of, you know, grappling with this, and I've spoken to as many people as I can. But essentially the issue is that the Children's Hospital, Akron Children's Hospital, wants to put in a medical, construct the 8,900 square foot medical building south of the Cuyahoga Falls property on Portage Trail. So it's next to the fire department. So as required, a stormwater management plan was developed in compliance with the requirements for Cuyahoga Falls. And what they learned is that in order to be able to maintain, and pardon me for just reading, it's just easier than me trying to explain it. So in developing the stormwater management plan in compliance with the requirements, they need to have, the hospital has to maintain a clear and unobstructed water flow into the established drainage way pathways. In doing so, in order for them to be able to do that, they have to come onto our property. So what they're asking for is a non-exclusive, now again, this is a generic, when I spoke with our attorney, it's really pretty much forever. Now if you want to change, or we wanted to make an amendment to that, he would have to add some language to have rights if we needed to get it back. But it's an uninterrupted right, privilege, and easement on or over below the district parcel of any portion which right, privilege, and easement shall be attached to that parcel for the purpose of stormwater drainage and maintenance, including but not limited to removal of sediment, vegetation, mulch, and debris, and repair of soil erosion. And then it's basically that there's within the swale limits, and so which is on our parcel. So they have to, in order to keep up with the maintenance, they have to come onto our property, basically weed and do those other things for the stormwater runoff. Now, I've been told, and again, I can only go by what I've been told by the engineers, we've had this, the city engineer, we've had, our architects, at the table, and I was at the first meeting when they kind of proposed it with Akron Children's Hospital, and then I kind of let the process go, and they've been updating me. But the people who have the authority on this in terms of their knowledge, believe that this is not going to do any harm to our property. In fact, it would improve the water runoff for us based on however they're doing it. And frankly, I'm sorry, I can't explain all of those details. But that's the layman's, version of what it is. So, I know this is something that you're taking into consideration. You each individually have asked me some questions and some clarification. I really wish I was more versed in this, field, but it's not my forte. But just in talking with various people and making calls, that's what I was able to kind of ascertain. No one seems to be concerned. They have a different viewpoint, right? So, Akron Children's Hospital would be appreciative of our gesture to allow them to do that. That's all, I can say on that. But at the end of the day, it's your decision and you have to be comfortable with it. So, that's sort of where we're at. Hope that helps.
Would it be possible to bring up the exhibit A on here? I don't know if it's on there. You might have to log it in. Yeah, sorry.
And I also might have been
Because that will help. It'll help explain where our questions, I think, came from to have better conversation. No problem. It didn't get uploaded on there. I checked. That's fine.
I have a paper copy if anyone
Yeah.
wants to
It's hard to see
reference
on
it.
there,
It
though.
is. I mean, I can't even my old eyes.
I got it.
We can start talking while he brings up. I got our question, well, some of our questions, maybe everyone's question, I think, is that the little piece of the easement hits into our road that we're building on the 612 campus. And that's really what our concern comes over, is what does that piece of that mean? And that's what I don't think we're clear on. Because that's the only road that we have. And then we had that issue on the front end of the project where we had to switch property with the city because they had an easement onto our road. And they said, well, you can't build this because we have an easement onto your road. So now we're giving an easement onto our road when that on the front end created a problem for us building it.
Yeah, I think that predates me, but I did hear a little bit about that, and I apologize for not mentioning.
Yeah.
You just jogged my memory that I spoke with Lucas, and he felt like he might have caused a little alarm, and maybe he didn't communicate as well as he could have in saying that he is not concerned about it, but he does say that it is, it does come closer.
You're right.
But he
Yeah.
didn't feel that was going to impact anything, and I asked him that 3 times, just to make sure.
Because there's a difference between not impacting the building portion, because then they're done, and then in 2 years from now also, so that would be my concern.
Well, we need to do work on our easement, we need you to close your road, which is the only access road for our project, because we have an easement that impacts your road. That's our real concern, is that it's not the roundy part, cause that's the impact of their project. It's the square part, and it hits the corner of our road.
Right where the arrow's in.
And that's what I think we don't fully understand the impact of that. And we
So,
wanna
just so
make
I'm
sure
clear.
that we are fully protecting the interest of this project that we have put everything on the line for.
Is this, just so I'm clear, like right here, this square, is this, or?
Yeah,
This
this
portion?
little
'Cause it-
corner
it's-
here
Okay.
hits into our road.
I did drive by to try to visualize it a little
glasses
bit.
are right here.
We happened to have that tour on Monday,
Yeah,
so we walked over.
Yeah,
And I think that is what we're concerned about.
so the question is, the concern about what may happen down the road, if we have to,
Literally, yeah.
closing roads,
It hits that little bend
Yeah.
of it, and
Okay.
that's what it has. And you see how much you have to zoom in, so we have
Yeah.
taken this, like,
yeah,
because we dealt with on the front end that other easement because of because of the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's created this sensitivity in us to make sure we are doing that due diligence, to make sure we're not creating another issue that we had tried to solve already.
yeah, we're gonna run into something similar, I don't know if, I can't remember if it was in your updates or not, with, we're going for that road widening too, and there's some things there with the city as well, and we're gonna probably be having some more discussions. I guess when you get into these things, these things come up and, we all learn together, but, I mean, I can certainly get those answers, I'll make some calls, I'm not sure who the best person is to answer that question, but, I can get some answers for you on that so what I'm hearing is, is there possibility with this being butt up against the street, if there's gonna be any, potential closing of roads, future problems that could exist?
Yeah, I don't
And
think.
what would be the risks, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think we're opposed to an easement, we're just concerned about what risk we're opening ourselves up
Okay.
to with that little piece right there.
Okay.
The rest of it doesn't, I don't think worries us, correct?
No, just
Is that fair?
Okay, what I can do is get you an answer soon, and if it's not what you're looking for, just please let me know that I'm off base, and like if I have to go back at work, if you decide to postpone this, or.
Can I ask a question too? And this might be a silly question, but, and I am no architect, so I've spent a lot of time looking at these. And is the city doing providing easement for the project as well? So it's two
For their project?
for their project?
I don't know.
That's what it looked like in this document, but I was
Let me
not
see, yeah,
100% sure. And I know this is probably, and I know that the city engineer approved the plan. Is there another, do they have a backup plan? Is there another way to do it that wouldn't
that
be,
to-
right,
To avoid the easement?
yeah, and,
Yeah. I don't think there is, based on our initial conversations, but I could ask again, because that was a couple months ago that I asked that question.
cause it seems like such a small little piece of property, but,
And I don't know if it's the way the swales and the pitch of the land and how water runs
Yeah, I
off.
don't
I'm
know.
guessing that's why it's that corner, to be
it's
honest.
probably the,
Right.
Because ours are coming down that way as well. So, that's my guess.
Pop that little corner out, move on, we can all move on with our day.
can they move their parking lot over like 6 inches?
Yeah, it's so easy. I make those kind of comments all the time with Schaefer too, and I'm like, and I probably am missing the boat by, there's probably so many more things. They're like, okay, simpleton, you don't understand any of this. So.
Well, and I
They're
understand
probably right. I don't.
how many parking spaces that we had and the size of the parking that we have based on how many people are gonna be in the stadium. I mean, I understand there's a lot of, for us, so I imagine they have the same type of parameters that they are trying to fit into. I can understand it. I mean, I don't understand it, but in theory, I can understand it.
It's a very small piece of land, I don't think we're worried about the permanence or anything, I think we're just worried about that corner.
Okay. All right. I
think
can ask
so.
some more questions.
Okay, so I would make a motion to postpone this to our May 8th meeting.
I'll second.
Any discussion on the motion to postpone? Ms. Toyfoy, when you're ready, please call the roll.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye, thank you. Item 3 is superintendent's comments, Dr. Salzko.
Thank you. First, I want to offer an apology for this last agenda and all the last minute changes. This board is very patient with us, and I appreciate that, but our team can do better. And sometimes there's just things that come up. We're waiting on others. A lot of times, one, we have some learning curves among our team and getting things organized, but also that, if we're waiting on an attorney or something is time sensitive, their time sensitive doesn't always coincide with our time sensitive. So sometimes we're doing things last minute. I've already spoken to some of, my team when we were just chatting about the agenda, and I know Mr. Jones does a nice job of juggling and informing through all the changes, but I don't appreciate last minute stuff, and, I think people know that about me, and, I don't like to do that to you. So thank you for being so gracious and keeping up with all the track changes. but we'll do better. The other thing, just a few things that had going on these last couple of weeks as we pick up here. I had mentioned our soups troops, we had gone and had a nice time with at the rehab center, so that the students followed up with me again, just wanted to tell me how much they really enjoyed their time there, as did the rehab folks said that how much they enjoyed the games with the kids. We had, you have on your, coming up here, the student handbooks. So I just want to point out that, again, this is the first read, so you most likely will be getting some changes, just because we wanted to at least give you a chance to dive into it now. So any changes that are forthcoming, and it'll mostly be Mr. Elder and I working on that, and him informing me. We're looking at some discipline code kind of changes. We're looking at some things relative to cell phone and some safety things. So there may be some changes. I will certainly let you know what they are, and we'll point them out very specifically for you. But I would like you to at least get your hands on it sooner. And I'm sure many of you will mention this, but we enjoyed the musical. A number of members from our administrative team went out to dinner first and made it a little outing for all of us, and really enjoyed that. The couple good, well, one, I want to thank people who attended mostly our staff, for the state of the school. I know I gotta get with Ms. Stewart, and we have to probably get that edited, and we'll get that out as soon as we can to the public. And then two positive things, I wanted to point out that big news for Richardson Elementary. They were named a Hall of Fame school, which is a big acknowledgement, and we're proud of them and the work that they had to do. And then also Lincoln receiving the Purple Heart Award. So those were some good things happening. And Mr. Johnson will get his award next time. It was probably more us. We didn't really firm up the date, and he forgot that he had a coaches that he had to be for there tonight to recognize a coach who was getting an award. And I thought that was just as important. So we will have him here next meeting. But he also received an award for athletic director and his compassion and kindness to students. So that was also a very nice award. Thank you.
Thank you. Item I is board business. Number 1 is policy adoption. Recommended the Board of Education adopts the following policies.
So moved.
A second.
Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Thank you. Number 2 is a first read of the elementary school student handbook. Number 3 is a first read of the middle school student handbook. And number 4 is a first read of the high school student handbook. You can send any questions or comments to Dr. Selica. Number 5, superintendent's contract. It's recommended the Board of Education approves the contract and the addendum for the superintendent.
Oh, so moved.
Second.
Fight for a second.
Mr. Harris.
He was
You guys
Melissa
can
first.
You could go first.
We'll give him that one.
Worked out better for me then.
Comments?
Kathy? I'm not much of a talker tonight, I'm sorry. But I am glad that you're staying with us.
Yeah, something popped up on, I have a board Facebook page, and it popped up recently about come out to meet Dr. Selico 2 years ago. And the excitement and the buzz around all of that, and the hopefulness that all of us had that we knew in our guts that we made the right decision, but you're also like, okay, this is the beginning of a new chapter. And so we're sitting here 2 years later, and obviously very, very sure that we made the right decision. And I know that we are all looking forward to this journey that we have started on and continue in this district. It is a much better district because of you leading us. And thank you for everything that you have done and working with us as a board on our goals. And we have a very exciting future ahead of us with you continuing to lead. And so we appreciate you, and we appreciate your family and the sacrifices they've made, because we know that it has been probably a tough 2 years for all of you with that, so that's all I have to say.
Here, here.
Yeah.
That's great. Nothing further to add to that.
Sometimes a contract negotiation can be stressful. So I appreciate that the ability to work together and is painless, mostly. Thank you.
What?
I'm the only other one that you do, so I'm not sure what you're saying here.
In my experience.
I'm just kidding.
Thank you to you too. Yeah, appreciate you too. Yeah.
Say, when people talk about our school district, there is a hopeful optimism, and I like to say we're not there yet, but we're on our way, and I think we're gonna get there. And I think with your leadership, the team you're building, and the standards that we're establishing, we're gonna get there. And if not, we'll be happy to renew you again when the time comes up. Dr. Zolika. Anything you'd like to say?
I mean, obviously, thank you. I'm humbled by your remarks and your support. It really has been such a great experience. Of course, this job is, not the easiest at times and can be stressful, but when you know that you have the backing and support that I do of this board and my team, it makes a world of difference, and I just appreciate the confidence. I know what a big decision it is for a board. It's the biggest decision you probably make, and along with the treasurer's decision, but it is a tough decision, and I'm glad that you feel you made the right decision, and I feel it's a great fit for all of us. And you're right, we've made a lot of ground. I'm very proud of the work that everyone has done in the district, but we still have more to do, and we all know it, and we're all committed to doing that. So I appreciate it, and the relationships that we have, and even working with Ms. Carlisle and our union leaders, it's all gone very well. I do. And we work so well together, and we're gonna continue to work well together, so, but thank you, I really appreciate it.
Mr. Gomez, when you said that you think we're gonna make it, it reminded me of the end of that show Alice. We're gonna make it after all.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna get
Slip-
there. Please
You
call
guys
the
might
roll.
be too young
Ms.
for
White?
that.
Aye.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Aye.
Mrs. Stork? I think that's what I did on your phone.
But they might be too young. Is it Laverne and Shirley? Oh,
That's right, it is.
is it Laverne and Shirley? Yeah. I'm gonna have to go and listen to it.
All three unions, treasurer, we fixed the treasurer's contract, superintendent. Got it all done in a year. All the
Yeah.
things,
Ooh, that's true.
all the contracts we can do, we did in a year. All the contracts we contract with. And I think we treated everyone fairly. That's what's most important.
I agree.
Next is number 6, board office discussion. So,
Would you like to start, or would you like me to start?
I'll have you start
Okay.
because I want to know, what do you need us to give you at the end of our conversation in terms of like output for your direction purposes?
Okay, so as we know, we had the presentation on the recommendation to move our central office to Talmadge Road office space. And so I've been, as you know, working on this. Where we're at, the juncture we're at right now is that we have, and this was a new step for me, I learned, this letter of intent. So originally I thought we would just jump straight to a lease agreement, and the board would consider a lease recommendation from me. But there's this intermediate step that I didn't really know about, and it's called letter of intent. It's a non-binding paper, proposal, if you will, that just essentially opens up the discussion between the two parties. So when I asked our realtor, I said, well, what's the purpose of this? And the attorney agreed, because our attorney has looked at this, said that it's really that if you can't agree on the basic terms, then you don't even go to a lease. Why waste the time on a lease? But if they know what we're coming in with, what our expectations are, and they're like, yeah, okay, this looks good, I can agree to this, let's work on a lease, that then would become the next step, and then, of course, that lease would then become binding. But this right now is just to open up the conversation to see if we're even in the ballpark with one another. but we've had enough oral, like, verbal conversations with him that there's nothing in here really should come as a surprise. Maybe a couple things that were added, but we've talked to him along the way, so I don't anticipate it being a lengthy. We did add some things for protection from our attorney that we thought. But that's essentially where we're at. So the question for the board is, would you like me, I have not submitted this to our Realtor to give to the owner. So that's the juncture we're at. If you are okay with exploring more, it's not committing to anything, just opening it up.
Well, is the direction you need what direction the board wants to take, or?
It would be approval for me to proceed with submitting the letter of intent to them.
So at what point do you need the board to make the decision on what the board wants to do in terms of central office?
Well, I think they kind of go hand in hand, in my opinion anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you believe that it should be at that location, then we should continue the conversation. But if you don't, then you would probably put the brakes on me giving a letter of intent. I guess is how I view it.
So what we need to discuss as a board is everyone needs to give their thoughts on what they want for central office going forward, so that the superintendent knows what she should do.
I'll be the first one to speak. I personally feel like after all the data that's been collected and the presentation and everything else that's gone into this discussion and for this decision, that fiscally speaking, I feel it's the right decision to have the central office leased at this point in time versus the amount of money that would need to be put into. Really, there's really only one other option for our buildings as it stands with the presentation and the data. That's my personal opinion with that, is that it's the right decision for us, specifically from a fiscal standpoint, which I believe is one of the main things we're charged with as a board.
I agree with Ms. Coco. I think we've been given enough information and, touring the building, and that we can make a decision to move forward with this being the right one. As it relates to if this is non-binding, I mean, I didn't see a problem with it. It wasn't tying us down to anything. If it would keep the discussion moving forward and keep us on the timeline, I think it's definitely something we should move forward with. So.
I think my question, so originally I was kind of thinking this is a step we're gonna be in this location for the board office for an X amount of time, and then eventually finding a permanent home somewhere else. And I guess what I would like to know is, do we have any thoughts on permanency of other buildings? So we had talked about putting at Roberts, so if Roberts is something that we're gonna keep, or if we're gonna get rid of, so if Roberts was something we were thinking we might sell at some point, obviously it wouldn't make sense to redo it and then move there. But then, I got the information about the park across the street, and are we using that to build additional, or is that are we gonna be using that property? So then I got a little bit confused, are we going to be using these properties? Cause if we're using the properties, we should use the properties, not, go somewhere else while we're. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The park portion?
So the park portion, remember, is not real helpful to us in the sense that it's so right across from Ross Park, right across from Roberts to Ross Park there, the city owns that whole first part. We have that back part, when you come off that other side street, and we have just that football stadium. It's 7 acres, it's big, but we have,
Yeah,
that's where
it's
the little
oddly
Tigers is.
shaped.
It doesn't help us for a future site, and without doing some type of land swap with the city, I would imagine, or taking over, we infringe upon their park if they, I didn't have that conversation with the city. We did look at it for tennis courts, no decisions have been made, but that is one of the locations we're looking, because we need tennis courts. Roberts was not an ideal site deemed by the architect in the sense that, one, the acreage is 7.5, which again, they recommend a minimum of 10
For a board
acres
office?
for a new building. When you were talking future, so.
Right, I assumed, from the presentation, assumed that wasn't something we were gonna put another school
Yeah, that, well,
on.
and.
So
right,
I'm
I
like,
wouldn't
well,
recommend.
maybe, so what are we gonna do with this property? And then, but now I started thinking, like, are we gonna cultivate this property? Is that kind of like in the plans?
If you're asking my opinion and what we
I
discovered in
don't-
the data, it would probably
Just
something
throwing it
that
out.
we would not keep in our ownership. I would recommend to possibly, if we could, sell it, because we've in the work that we've done, our team has deemed that it's not really practical, it's too large for central office, aside from all the repairs and the maintenance and the upkeep and the utilities associated with the building. So we would recommend probably selling that property. I don't necessarily see a future, but to answer just the second part, and Mr. Gomez has been very patient listening, but just to answer that second part is, when we look at, the future sites, and knowing that we have a second phase coming in our bond issue with elementaries, my goal, my vision would be that we would come back in district at some point, whether it's Price Elementary and we would build that into our next bond issue if we need some local LFI funds to maybe rehab a little bit or whatever we need to do to retrofit one of our elementaries. We'll have probably a couple buildings that are not suitable. DeWitt, for example, has only 4 acres, if that. We can't use that for anything, so could that be central office? So the goal would be to lease for the next several years until we can get that second bond and then bring us back in district into a school building. That's my vision. I mean, that's just.
And thank you,
my
I
personal-
appreciate it, and I don't wanna sound like I'm just trying to start problems, but it's nice to have this, an opportunity to discuss it,
Sure.
it's hard to picture things without discussing it as a board, which we have to do in a public.
That was
Sure.
my concern
Yeah.
too, was how long are we gonna be there? And when I asked, Dr. Selico, she said, well, we could try to get it with the new, bond issue for the elementary schools and try to get somewhere at that time and move. And so I like that, and it, part of it, but that was what I was.
And thank you, I
worried about
completely
too.
missed that part too. If
Yeah.
if we decide, like with the elementary, would a board office be part of that bond issue to,
Right.
with elementary schools plus a board office? Is that how that would go? In theory, I don't.
Well, it probably,
maybe.
yeah, it could, but we would
We don't
renovate.
know, do we?
Well,
It wouldn't be a
I mean,
second,
it
it
would
wouldn't be
be
like a
any
phase
option. I mean, it could
5
be-
or something.
Whatever we decided, really, whether
Yeah.
it's part of a new building, one of them, whether it's renovating an
An
old
old,
one,
right.
Okay.
whatever that may be.
We're not, we haven't.
The beauty.
Right, it's
Got
not
it.
been discussed, but I mean, in
Right.
theory, that it could be all together at one time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, one advantage I would say about, and I can't speak it's gonna look like in 7 years, but we have a couple viable options that are in, like, DeWitt is a pretty nicely put together school. Price is small and manageable. Like, there are where you don't have, like, Roberts is just so overwhelming. It's 75,000 square feet, where the others are just a fraction of that.
Right.
And that's the space we really need. So we might not need to invest too heavily into it.
Now, the OFCC will not give us money for
Correct.
just board office, so that would have to be an LFI, even if it's attached to an elementary school, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They won't even give us money for preschool rooms, Mrs.
I know,
Wade.
yeah, I know.
Or
Makes no
auditorium or
sense.
stadium.
They won't give us money.
They just don't wanna give us money, okay?
Exactly.
The end.
Okay.
I think,
I think, yeah.
I definitely, appreciate those questions, because I don't think any of us want a building sitting empty at all.
No.
Like, we want a plan for what's happening with
Right.
Roberts. From the operational costs, I don't think it makes sense to have the board offices there one way or the other. But I don't think that any of us want an empty building sitting
No, we
somewhere.
don't.
And we all want a plan. It's so hard because we want in a perfect world, we could sit here and say this is what's gonna happen 10 years from now. Unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, and it's dependent on so many different things. So I feel we have to make the best decision that we can now, looking forward in the future to what potentially will be.
I think the
It's hard.
counterpoint to that for people that live in that neighborhood is that you don't know what's gonna happen with a bond, and you're giving me an empty building in my neighborhood with no plan for what's gonna happen to it. So we're taking a portion of our community, before we go to a phase two and making them very unhappy, giving them a building that we have truly no plan for. We don't know yet the value of it. We don't know the sellability of it with the bridge where it is. We know, we've all raised the issue of the bridge, and, the community does not have a lot of trust with us in terms of vacant buildings, in particular, middle schools. So, the community's gonna throw that right back into our face with, you don't know what's gonna happen in 10 years, and you've just vacated a building in my neighborhood, and you guys have a terrible track record of vacating middle schools.
Well, we know what's not, we don't know in 10 years, but I think the one thing we definitely do know is that it's not suitable for a board office or building a new school. So that doesn't really leave us with a lot of options other than making a plan.
I would disagree partially with
But-
that though, cause it could be the site could be work for a board office, not I don't think for a school, but it could work for a board office.
It could work for a
But-
future board office, and if we want it for that, we could use the board office now. And I disagree with the premise that it couldn't be used as a board office now, because I don't believe that we were presented actual numbers. We were presented very bloated numbers. And when the presentation was presented, we asked several questions, and it wasn't just me. You know, the windows, no, we don't actually need to replace the windows. Well, painting, well, we wanna paint it. Well, for 50+ years, our students and staff haven't had that building painted, so why does it need painted for our central office administrators? I mean, it's not painted right now while our students and staff are in the building. We're not giving them paint swatches and telling them, pick better colors for yourselves that you want to see every day in the hallway. So why does it need painted if central office administrators would be in there? So I really take umbrage with that. I think every decision we make can be made with our students in mind, and a lot of these things are wants, not needs. And if it is only gonna be for a temporary amount of time, why can't we make something work? Why does it have to be the ideal solution? Why can't it be the solution that we can make work? I also think more space is better. I don't think the question about gym space in the new building has been fully answered. I think that's gonna be, gym space in the new building is gonna be a huge problem. I asked the question, and the only answer we got was, well, they took that into account. But we still know that we are gonna have less gym space than we currently have in the new building. We're not gonna have a wrestling room, which we know, we knew that going into it. But there's gonna be a lot of competition for gym space. Having that middle school gym open would be a benefit as well. Our resource room, I don't think having it in an alternate space that is not part of a Cuyahoga Falls school every day is beneficial. I feel very strongly about that. We don't know the value of the building, we don't have plans for the building, and we don't know what it will cost to maintain the building in the long term. So there's a lot of open questions if we go with the lease, which we can go with, and that's fine. But there are questions that we don't have answers to, that we need to get answers to build trust with the people in that neighborhood, because we can't lose their trust either. And so, people are gonna know if we're going with a lease, and they're gonna know that that means that Roberts is gonna be a vacant building, but we're gonna have to get answers tomorrow about what's gonna happen and how we're gonna upkeep that building. Because people need to know that there's not gonna be a blighted building in their neighborhood. And what are our full plans to make sure that that does not happen? Because right now I have not heard one. It's okay, if we're gonna vacate a building, so be it, but we have to have 100% foolproof plan to not have a blighted building, cause we know what happened at Newberry.
Oh, God.
We know what happened at Sill. And Newberry, we thought we had secure, and there were terrible things happening there. So we have to be very, very careful about what happens when we vacate a building.
I have a couple responses to those things, that I didn't mention. We do have an appraisal going on right now, at Roberts. I just haven't, they were there last week on site. I don't know why it was taking a little bit longer than I thought. We got right on it when you had suggested, Mr. Gomez. So we should hopefully have that soon. I did mention the bridge, to take that into consideration as well. I can't find offhand the gym information that I shared it, but it was a while back, about the gym space. It's in report somewhere, so I just don't see it at my fingertips. I'll continue to look for it.
It was taken into consideration. That's the only
Yeah, no,
response he
there's
gave.
more to that. It was, the answer is, I do remember now, is that our athletics, our high school and middle school athletics will have ample space to do events. He said what will potentially be impacted are like the community sports programs. And those programs would then, we would have to look at maybe an elementary gym or something. But those are the ones that could potentially be impacted. It just came to me. I haven't found it in writing yet, but that is what I recall KJ saying. And then the community room, the Schnee, right now in the short term, yes, it is not a building, but if we look at some future plans with preschool and some other things, it may turn into something that ends up being recommended for a preschool. But we are struggling a little bit with that community resource room and the location. But where we landed was Schnee as at least the next couple year solution. But I understand that concern as well.
I definitely agree, Mr. Gomez, with that we need concrete plans of Roberts, and if that's selling, I know I wasn't here for a lot of the I don't know how to word it other than bad blood that happened with Schnee and Newberry, so I don't have firsthand experience with that, but even coming in on the other side of that, I know and have heard a lot. So I definitely agree that 100% we cannot have an empty building, and we need to make sure the community knows that we're not going to have an empty building anywhere. I don't, obviously I disagree about the board office part, but I 100% agree about not having an empty building.
That's a big one for me too. I don't wanna see an empty building sitting and, like what happened with Newberry or Sill. It's just not right. So whatever we do, we have to have a plan for that, what we're going to do with that building.
There's so many issues to the discussion because we don't know where we're gonna be in 7, 10 years, and what the community needs are gonna be at that time. Would put a bond issue, would we be able to pass something like that? I mean, we don't know, so there's so many factors that are unknowns. It's a lot of what ifs.
I think for me, that's why it's
Yeah.
important, one, you hire me to be a visionary, right?
Mhm.
And to plan ahead, which is why when this kind of like snowballed as we were, we were getting into more questions about the future of preschool, about, our enrollment and if it's declines and, where would, how we're gonna consolidate our buildings and such. And so that's why I'm trying to present us with some options and maybe I wasn't as direct, Mr. Schaefer, but if I were to guess, I would, in the direction we're heading now, that we're discussing, it would be to sell Roberts. Now, the question becomes, do you have a buyer, et cetera? And as you all know, that's the other hat, is the realtor hat that I wear, and, there are people that are interested in a lot of our properties. I do get calls,
I
and
bet.
not like every day, but I will tell you, several calls about our properties and interests. And of course, we have to follow the law on that. Schools are very specific on how we can sell properties. We have to, go through a lot of different things to make it happen. But that would be, the plan. We also have, working in our favor, time, because we're gonna be in that building another, almost 2 years. so we have time to work on that as well. So I understand, and I'm very respectful of the very tough decisions you all have to make. I can make recommendations and say, okay, it's up to you now. But we're a team, so we're all in this together, and we all have to feel comfortable. I do believe it's the best decision, but that's me, and I've lived and breathed this, for months, and you all are coming in with my abbreviated version of presentation, so.
That's true. And the urgency to move, to get into another space, the urgency, but, because we're going to be moving to a new building, and then this building, as the law is, like, you have to occupy a certain amount of space to stay in there. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of caveats, to making a decision whether to go and, if we, say like we decide we'd like the board office to move into Roberts, and then would you be in there while things were getting remodeled? I mean, I understand there's like a lot of moving parts.
There is. And I think what makes us a little nervous, because you all know we want to do this as perfectly as possible. Our transition to the new buildings, I mean, those are my
It's a
expectations
big
that we do
move.
it seamlessly.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, I gotta make sure I'm being fair to my team and everybody working on this project, because we've already begun conversations. Like, we've already started planning for this move. I mean, that's how massive it is, and some of us have been through this process before and know that it's a lot of work. And so we're just trying to phase in, these big projects, so we're not hit with everything at one time. So maybe a little selfishly, but I think in the end, everyone will benefit by us being able to dedicate our attention.
And it would be hard to move the board office and
Yeah.
the school at the same time. So, I mean, I can respect that, a move needs to be made prior to the opening of the new building.
So I guess my question, and I'm not cutting this discussion short at all, but Dr. Selk, I know, like, with the intent to proceed, and I know that in and of itself is, people are getting antsy and wanting to know, because even though it's not legally binding, and working in the mortgage industry, I 100% know that this is not at all legally binding. But I do know that it is a step in the process of saying, oh, you're serious enough to want to move forward to gather the rest of the information for something that would be legally binding. So I know that there are people waiting on that. So my question would be, when are you wanting and needing that decision now from us? Is it really what you need
I mean,
in order to do what you need to do with our blessing?
yeah, I think, so that the
Or not.
holdup and why people are calling me, our realtor and the gentleman, he finally, I mean, he really hasn't been really aggressive. He finally now has just said, like, he has all his workers there now, so he really would like to start doing some of the things that we want to the building while they're there. So they're on hold now just because, he doesn't have any kind of, other than us visiting, and, he doesn't really have anything that he could say, oh, these people are really serious, because we haven't produced anything. So, yeah, I mean, they're getting a little bit more, not aggressive, but just, a little bit, a few phone calls to me here or there that are,
So they're wanting, are they doing things specifically because we want them as a district, or for any potential lease?
no, they're specific to us, our requests. Like painting, ceiling tiles, so a little bit of flooring, cleaning, there are some cabinets that we want removed, things like that. A doorway, we need a little door to access to something, and some electrical things for our copiers. So those are pretty specific to where we would like, we've already put out the map, we know who would go where, and we had to do that so we could tell them what we need the work done.
I'm okay with the letter of intent going forward.
I too am fine with the letter of intent. I would like us to have a serious discussion sooner rather than later about Roberts, maybe when this appraisal comes back, of exactly what would happen. And then if we need to have another discussion, obviously, before we were to do anything legally binding, before having a lease on the agenda, maybe have a discussion of those two things together. would be a good idea as well.
There you go.
Okay, all right,
You got 3, that's enough.
okay, all right. Thank you.
Are we actually voting on that? or-
No, we don't have to vote.
Oh, okay.
nothing to vote on.
It's just an opinion.
That was.
Yeah, I mean,
You got 3.
Okay, thank you.
You don't have to keep talking about it.
Okay, you're the president, we just follow your lead, Mr. Gomez. Whenever you say we're done, we're done.
That's good enough, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Right?
Yes,
You're good?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Number 7 is DEIB policy discussion. You'll have a copy of the proposed policy in front of you. We kept, Ms. Coco and I had board prep. We kept this on the agenda because at our retreat, we said we would have it on the agenda today. Our suggestion would be to hold it until our work session in June, but because we said that we would have it on the agenda, we wanted to keep true to that commitment because that's a commitment we made.
Right.
But we thought it would be better to have it at the work session in June. So that's our recommendation, but at the same time, we wanted to keep a commitment we made to have it on today's agenda. So open it up to other thoughts.
That's fair.
Dr.
Yep.
Salco agrees with that.
Yeah,
Fine
fair.
with that.
So for the record, it's a common agreement, but we just said, we
this is
said,
our current policy?
no, it's a
No.
This is the
proposal.
proposed,
It's a
okay.
proposal.
Proposed.
Got it, thank
But
you.
it was, yeah, so,
Yep.
okay. That was the
Thank you.
Yep.
future agenda items, anything else that needs brought before us at this time? Okay. Number 9's committee report, 612
No.
core team. Did you have a design team meeting?
I'm trying to think of the last time.
No, okay.
No, it was a very brief,
Okay.
nothing to.
Wellness committee, Mrs. Schaefer.
We met and we kind of were going over our sections of the wellness policy in individual groups, so we didn't really present too much to the group as a whole, which we'll do next week, 2 weeks. I have to look at the date. We'll go over those. It's very exciting.
Legislative liaison, Mr. Harris.
No, I have nothing.
Student achievement liaison?
None.
Okay. Sure. Comments, I am up first. I was just very excited for the art walk tomorrow. Dr. Selko missed her chance, but just remind you that
I thought you guys would wanna do that, so
I know we're gonna
I.
remind you that Mr. Harris and I will be scooping popcorn at Metropolis from 6 to 7 tomorrow. Proceeds benefit the visual art boosters, which help put on the art walk. So see us
Get a
from
strawberry scooper
that's
button.
6 p.m.
5 to
to
6.
7 p.m. for Mr. Harris and I.
Leslie, you come at 5, okay? And Miss Carla, come see me, I'll give you some popcorn.
The board was able to do a tour of the new 612 campus on Monday night. I'm sure everyone will have a different little perspective to share on it, but it's always wonderful to go out there with Lucas. He does a great job. He knows the whole building, and he's the best tour guide of that building.
Yeah.
Because he knows it so well, and it's just so exciting to see that. Last time we were there, everything was just empty. It was just empty building now. All walls are going up. They're starting to paint walls and everything. So it's really thrilling, and I'm still hope. Are we gonna be able to get the 612 staff in?
It wasn't a great response to the safety there. It's very small groups. I think it would take a lot of people. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it at our next board
Okay.
meeting. Yeah.
Because I just think they would be really thrilled. Be a great
know.
way to send them onto their summer
I agree.
vacation. I'm gonna keep pushing for
I
it.
agree. I'm with you.
I think it would be the best way to send them out on the summers. Really get them
It would
thrilled
be.
about what the future will be. So
I agree. It's
I'll
gorgeous.
bring it up again. Mr. Harris.
Another congratulations to our top Tigers and all the amazing folks we recognize tonight. Dr. Selko made a comment, and I agree. You know, looking out at the top Tigers and families tonight, it was such a diverse population of folks, and it's very reflective of our community, or where we're getting in our community. So it's always great seeing that. We had our a board retreat, was very exciting. You know, we got a lot of good work done, a lot of bonding we did as well, so very appreciative of Deborah's work with that as well. And school building tour, yes, fantastic. I told them I'm no longer the crazy guy just standing in a Giant Eagle parking lot, just staring at it, you know, to be, you know, just what's it look like inside? So we finally got to see that, and it is, you know, like Mr. Gomez said, the first time we were in there, it was just a shell of itself, and now we are starting to see everything going up, and it's just remarkable. I drive by, I'm so proud of it, and I know families and folks here in the community are as well. And then, yeah, plug for Art Walk tomorrow. Come see Mr. Gomez and I, and Dr. Selico as well.
Get in line at 5:55.
Make it
That's
look
all.
like I have more people, I know.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Well, it's that time of the year when everything is happening every day all at one time. And so last night I got to go to, after the tour, which, okay, so the 612 campus tour was very exciting. At the end, Lucas took us to that so we could see where the Performing Arts building is, and I took a picture from where we were standing, and I realized it's a perspective picture, but it looks so gigantic next to the building. It was very exciting. And the Black Box Theater, I know there's nothing in it yet, but it looks gigantic. Is it like 3 times as big as what we have currently?
I don't
how much
think it is,
bigger?
but no.
It
looks
feels
big.
so big.
It's pretty big.
It's such an opportunity for
It's awesome.
for one of the things that this district does really well with performing arts. I mean, it's just very exciting for us. But I got to sit in the auditorium for the high school instrumental music concert. I thought it started at 7. It was 6:30.
I know, I did
Sorry.
too.
And I was sitting in the seats, and I was thinking, I can't wait to sit in the new seats, in the new.
We still get to test those out right now.
I'm hoping that they're just slightly more comfortable. I don't know, but I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. And Footloose. It was really fun. The roller skates. The whole time I was just like, please don't fall, no one fall. And it went really a little anxiety for me, but everyone had a great time. It was a lot of fun. The retreat in our exotic location.
Yeah.
That was. I love those types of things because I get to see how y'all's brains work and, you know, come together to kind of discuss things and do some of like the forward thinking and everything. And it was, I'm humbled every time we do something like that because you can see kind of just where you all are coming from and what you bring to the table. And I'm humbled to be part of the group. So thanks for including me.
Just wish you were a doer.
I'm retaking that. I'm
Me too.
retaking that test. I have to retake that test.
A
What am
doer
I?
would have already retaken it.
What is? I'm not. No, I don't. I am not a
You
doer.
would need to retake it. Maybe
What
not
what
the
was
first
I?
time.
Analyzer.
Analyzer. Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. White?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Hammond for the tour. It was really amazing. You know, the outside, the bricks and all are there now on part of the building, just to see that where the entrance, where you are gonna go in, just to know and see everything, although they didn't have the elevator yet, which was, you know, but okay, I made it. I did make it. It was a lot of walking and up and down. And I went home and I was pooped. But it was just wonderful. And I don't usually look up, you know, because, well, anyway. But I did at that because you could see all the ductwork, all the pipe, all the everything. I mean, just all going in. And then the drywall, the paint. It's just amazing. I just, thanks to our community. I think they'll love it too when they get to see it fully done. I also attended the State of the Schools. That was very interesting and fun. And then like Mrs. Schaefer, I also went to the band concert thinking it started at
Sorry.
7. No, they usually do. I mean, my 2 daughters came, you know, and they got there at 7. We missed my grandson, so, oh well, things happen. But at any rate, it was very good. The concert was amazing, as they always are. I mean, you had symphonic, black, gold, freshman band, and you can just see, I think Mrs. Schaefer, you said this too, how each year they go up and improve, you know, with their instruments and so on, but it's just amazing. Some of the drummer, Brennan, and some of the other kids, I don't know all their names. I wish I did, because they're just amazing. And I don't play an instrument. I wish I had learned, but I didn't. But they're just so good. And the art walk tomorrow night, so that's it.
Thank you. And Ms. Coco?
Everybody mentioned so many things, and Footloose. I think Lucas left because I told him I was going to give him a shout out about his special roller skate appearance. And he said, please don't. I said, well, now I have to. So, the whole performance was great, and, I always enjoy the work. It's a lot of work for those students, and to see the fruit of their labors and, you know, the staff and everyone, and great, and it was just a fun time. I also got to talk to our agricultural students, the CTE students, at the Community Sustainability Expo. I finally got myself a t-shirt, with a donation. I was happy about that, but it's fun to see them so excited about that program and talk to them about the different things they're doing, and I'm really glad that we have that as part of our CTE program. I also was able to attend a teaching professions night with the CTE program in Kent, and these are the students, was with the students that are at the end and graduating out of that program, and to see this group of young people that are so excited about becoming educators was, you know, we need that, and we need way more than we're in that classroom, honestly. But the fact that they've stuck with it for 2 years, and they've been able to visit classrooms, and they've decided, well, I want to go into secondary, or I want to be a kindergarten, or whatever it may be. It really helps them decide what they want to do, and gives them credits, college credits, and everything to move forward into that profession. So I was excited to do that as well. And then, of course, the tour, with the colors that they have in there already are nice. They're awesome. Like very, very calming and zen, and just, they're good. They're good. It's huge. I'm wondering how long it's going to take our students to get acclimated to where they're going.
How about your superintendent?
Or
Yeah.
you.
Or me.
Years.
And Ms. Schaefer said, maybe we need an app for a phone of this, you are here, let's go here. But then it would require students to have their phones out, so I don't know how we do that.
We're gonna have great signage.
Sign it, that's what I
Yes,
said.
a lot of signage.
We are.
But we're to the
Scan
point
here
that,
if you're
you know, you
lost.
can go in and you're like,
Really.
I wonder what the bell schedule, how long,
Yeah.
how long are they gonna get to go from one class to another? Like, those things started to pop up in our heads, because as you're walking through those spaces,
They're also
But-
going to be color coded. I don't know if he told you that. Like
Yeah.
6th grade has a theme.
He
7th
did
grade,
say.
8th grade.
Yeah,
okay.
he did
And then
say
we're gonna also signs will be also color coded and directional. So, you know me, I'm gonna make sure we have the best signage because we're still lost.
yes,
So, yeah,
we'll
but you're right.
definitely need good
It's pretty
signage,
messy.
but I'm excited about
Yeah.
that. And of course, the art walk tomorrow. And then the board retreat, thank you to my fellow board members and Dr. Selico and Ms. Stokoe for giving of your time. We are all so busy, and the fact that everyone was willing to make that a priority. I know a lot of us took PTO time off work to be there, and just to be able to have those open discussions and respectful discussions. And even this evening, I just want to say I appreciate the fact that even though all of us do not agree on everything, we always respect each other and discuss things in a very respectful way. And that means the world to me, that I can sit here with colleagues that I know will be respectful of each other. So thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we're at item J, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Coco?
Aye.
Mr. Gomez?
Aye.
Mr. Harris?
Aye.
Aye.
Ms. White?
Aye.
I skipped over it.
Adjourned
I
at
realized I skipped
7:42.
over it. Did I go over that?
We
All right.
decided where we wanna have that board
So
meeting.
here, I get your
Oh, you
foot.
did, okay.
On the first floor, top of the